What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Groomer podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and today I have my friend Shannon Cox on. Shannon is the founder and owner of Shannon's Pretty Paws up in Edgewood, Maryland. She is a top Grooming Business 2024 winner. Shout out. And she came on today to not only share about how business has been going, but to share a little bit more insight on what it's like to run a business that specializes in anxiety-ridden and difficult dogs. So I brought her on today to just learn a little bit more about what that looks like. Shannon, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
So Shannon, obviously, let's hit the hammer with the nail right off the gate here, or the nail with the hammer, I guess is how that goes. So your shop today, we were kind of talking about this a little bit, but you guys have like specialties, right? And I understand that yours is for these more aggressive or anxiety-ridden dogs. Can you talk to me, how you even got to be comfortable grooming those types of dogs? Because I know so many groomers and salons right now, unfortunately, but again, no fault to the owner, push those dogs away because they don't need the business, right?
Yeah. Well, honestly, in the beginning, when I was first starting my business, I feel like anybody who first starts a business, you kind of take whatever comes through the door. And as I grew and I still held on to those clients, I had a lot of folks tell me, you need to raise your prices, you need to squeeze them out, you don't need to deal with them, there's easier dogs to do. But what I had realized with some of the dogs that I have been working on, I had breakthroughs with them. I had dogs who were terrified of the clippers, and now I can run the clippers all over them. I had dogs who were terrified of the bathtub or when the water hit them that finally came around. And it kind of stuck with me that I would rather continue working on these dogs because I've seen the progress that I can make with them, and knowing that all these dogs have been sent away from all these other salons around me, because I know I can make that difference and I know I can make this an easier and better experience for them. I just want to keep at it. I have some dogs that I've been working on for years, and they've come so far, and I know it's because of the work that I put in with them, that to me, it's like, it just doesn't get better than that to me. There's some groomers who love the art of this. I love the relationships.
I love that. That just gave me chills. Do you advertise that, hey, I want everybody's hard dogs, like the dogs that nobody wants to do or touch or that are big pain in your butt, send to me? Or is it kind of like a little hidden gem up where you're at and you just see a hard or difficult dog and you're like, oh, that one's mine. Like that one I want to do.
I actually have gotten to the point that I not only know several groomers around me, but it's gotten out to everybody that that's what I do. So if they have a difficult dog come in, they just send them my way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I mean, honestly, again, like I know every groomer / owner in the audience here is shaking their head. Like there's so many of those dogs out there right now that nobody wants to do because, you see them once a year, likely, right? Like they're not on recurring. They're difficult as all get out. And they're just hard. They're hard to work with, right? Aside from the relationship, how do you think about it? I mean, obviously you have a business to run as well, right? You can't take in, and spend 3 to 5 hours with every dog. You can't do that and run a profitable business. So like, what do you do to safeguard that?
It depends. It depends on the issues that the dog has. I do have a lot of folks who realize their dog has issues, so they're more understanding when I tell them, hey, these are the issues we're having. In order for me to work with your dog and to try and push through these issues, this is a schedule I need you to stick to. And I also give them homework. I tell them this is the things that I want you to do at home to help them get past this speed bump that we're at right now. And if things come around, then we can start to spread out the appointments a little bit to a normal 6 to 8 week schedule versus a 4-week schedule. And then I also have some dogs who are very nervous just around people, and I'll tell them, come swing by the shop for 20 minutes and just let me love on them. and just let them come to the back with me and let them hear the sounds of the dryers and the barking, and let me even put them in the bathtub and hit the water on the back of the tub so they can get used to the sound of it. So it depends on what the issue is. Now, I do have some folks who are not so understanding, and when I tell them these are the issues, this is what I need you to do, and they don't stick to it, I do have to be like, well, if you can't stick to this, I can't help your dog. And in the end, that's what we both want. We want, if you have a doodle, it's going to be stuck getting groomed its entire life. And I know that you don't want to hop between groomers. I know you don't want to pay a matted fee every single time your dog has to get groomed. So in order to fix this problem and save your bank account, this is what we need to do.
You just flipped my world upside down, Shannon. I had thought that like dealing with aggressive or anxiety, ridden dogs was much more of a skill than an art, right? Of like, hey, this is how you get out this crazy mat, right? This is how you deal with this dog who won't stop shaking, etc. And it definitely is, right? But what you just said right there is so much more like artistic than an actual like hand-to-hand skill, right? Of like exactly how you are going to lay out this process to build that relationship with this dog and turn them into, a dog that loves going to the groomer, or that can at least tolerate it, right? And it seems like client education is like a giant pillar of that. How do you approach telling a client that, hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but your dog's not the greatest with, sounds, right? Sometimes that can be hard to hear.
Yeah. Well, I have my general questions that I ask in the beginning. I always ask them, how are they with loud noises? How are they when you vacuum your house? And if someone tells me, oh, they try and eat the vacuum or they run away from it, I'm automatically like, okay, so just so you know, there's a very good chance that your dog is not going to be getting dried today, at least not all the way. I always try and give them a heads up, but I always ask questions. I want to know how they are at home. How are they when someone comes knocking on the door? How are they when you're blow drying your hair? How do they react to these things? Because that also helps me figure out. I keep in the back of my head, okay, they don't like this at home, so they're probably not going to like this here. And then depending on what the issue is, I take videos and I show them. And I take walk-ins for nails. You don't need an appointment with me. You stop in, and I do 99% of my nails up front in my waiting room. I have the owners hold them. That way, if your dog decides to act out, you can see I'm doing nothing wrong. This is an issue your dog has. And then it's usually like, you can't blame the groomer. You firsthand are seeing how your dog is acting. There's no denying it. Your dog has a problem. We need to work together to fix this problem.
Okay. I mean, you just opened up Pandora's box here. So it seems like not only is there homework on the back end, but it seems like there's like, hey, the intake process is much more, has much more depth than the typical, okay, what kind of dog? What age? Great. Bring them on in. Right. Yeah. So what can you run through real quick? What are those things that you're asking regardless? Like when you get a new call or a new client, regardless of who they are or whatever, like what is that first list of stuff that you want to be able to make a proper assessment?
Well, aside from getting like their contact information, I always ask them the breed of the dog, if they're up to date on their shots. I ask them, have they been groomed before? When's the last time they were groomed? And sometimes they don't want to tell me, but I do ask where they were last groomed, because depending on where, I already know the issues the dog is coming with. And then I ask them sometimes if the dog has been groomed in 3 or 4 months. Then in the back of my head, it's like, okay, this is a Shih Tzu has been groomed in 4 or 5 months. It's probably going to be mad when it comes in. I'll ask them when they come into my shop and it's their first time to drop the dog off. I get on the floor with every dog. I don't always pay attention to them right away unless they're like your wiggly puppy, and then I'm gonna love all over you. But if you're a very timid dog, I sit on the floor. I don't look at them. I talk to the owner while I'm sitting there because I'm at the dog's level. I'm not towering over them. And I give them the chance to not only smell my shop, but then usually they'll slowly work their way to me because they're interested, and I'm still ignoring them, but they'll come up and smell me. And if I give them the opportunity to get out of their comfort zone to come up and approach me, that's a first step. And then it's okay, when you are working with your dog at home, how are they with the brush? If they tell me, okay, well, the previous groomer said that he bites over his feet, And it's like, okay, well, how often were you getting him groomed? How often is he getting his nails done? Have you ever played with his feet? Because I recommend everybody to always play with their dog's feet. The number one issue that I have is dogs don't like their feet touched, they don't like their nails clipped. So I'm always, how often are you playing with their feet? So to me, aside from the general questions, it depends on what follow-up questions I have is based on if they're going to tell me the previous groomer said the dog has this issue, or the dog gives me this issue at home. So it depends on what their response is when I ask them, do you know if your dog has any issues getting groomed? It depends on what follow-up questions I'm going to have.
That's great. Let's keep this thread going. What you would say, and this doesn't have to be scientific by any means, but what are kind of like the top 3 most common things? It doesn't need to be like one dog has all 3 of these things, but like, what are the top 3 common things that you might see in like anxious dogs, based on some of your follow-up questions or what's going on at home? Like, is it one of them like, hey, people, a lot of our dogs don't like their feet getting touched. Like that is really popular. Or like, that's what I'm kind of looking for here. What are 3 of those most common things that you guys have seen a lot running, kind of an anxious dog haven here?
A high amount of them don't like their feet touched. A high amount of them do not like the dryer. And a high amount of them have separation anxiety.
Okay.
But the separation anxiety, I also feel like, go ahead.
No, finish your thought on the separation anxiety.
Separation anxiety, I feel like a lot of the times because the reason they have separation anxiety is because when the owners drop off, their anxiety is causing the dog to get anxiety.
I mean, hey, I'm a sucker for that, Shannon. When I leave my dog, oh man, you think I'm going to, to war or something like that. I'm saying goodbye just when I leave in the morning. Okay, let's go one by one though, because now I'm going to crack my knuckles, grab my coffee. We're going to see the master go to work. So either the owners told you this or you have figured this out that the dog's feet, the dog does not like that at all. But you've got it sitting there now, coming into your shop. Walk me through tips, tricks, protocol for that specific diagnosis. And I'm going to put that in air quotes for anyone that's audio. Diagnosis.
Okay, so let me give you a couple examples. I have a pit bull that comes in, and the vet used to do his nails, but the last time he went to the vet, it was either the vet or the vet tech quicked every single nail in this pit bull. Every single nail. Dog left bleeding. So we tried different approaches. We tried distractions. We tried love-ins. We tried toys. What works for him is if he has a bone. If the owner holds a bone in front of him, you can do whatever you want to that dog. He does not care. He is too focused on the bone. I have another one that comes in that it's the sound of the clip. When you clip the nail, as soon as the clip goes, he goes to nip. But if I turn my music up in my shop and he doesn't hear the clip, he doesn't react. If I have another dog who will bite if I have him on the table, but if I have someone holding him, he doesn't bite. He likes the comfort. He likes being held.
It's always something just like so little, but I like how you approach it. Again, I'm going to keep returning to this word, but almost scientifically, where it's like, hey, we're going to try something. We're going to find something where we're going to figure out it's that exact sound. We're going to figure out that it's the exact, like, oh, you could put a toy, you could put a rawhide, you could put whatever, but he won't do anything unless you put a bully stick, right? Whatever it is, you're going to figure it out until you find that exact key. Okay. I'm sure this approach is going to apply across the board, but for the sake of maybe some other examples, let's keep going. So we said most common thing number 2. I remember most common thing number 3 was separation anxiety. What did we say number 2 was?
The dryer.
The dryer, right. Okay. Talk to me about the protocol for that. What do we do? I'm sure that this one's pretty common.
Oh, yeah. So if I have a dog that I can't use a force dryer on, I also have a stand fluff dryer. It's a lot quieter. So sometimes I can get away with putting a dog in a crate and letting the fluff dryer go on them. I use box fans. A lot of groomers and a lot of folks hate the idea of a box fan and think it looks really tacky, but they're quiet. So if I have a dog that doesn't, not like a German Shepherd, they'll be there all day. But if I have a small dog like a Maltese, a fan will dry it in 20 minutes. And they're quiet, so they don't get stressed out over it. I also have, like, I try to have dogs as crate free as I can. And I had a dog today. I had a puppy come in today, and it's her third time being to me. She was abused by her previous owner, so she's terrified of everything. She's not about the dryer. She's absolutely petrified of it, but she really likes my husband. So for about 25 minutes, they ran around my shop playing with toys, and she was dry. And she was a Cavalier Poodle mix, so she had some hair on her, and she was dry. I have
you heard
dogs.
it here first. I mean, we can screw the box dryers, screw the high velocity dryers. Just get a stray husband to go play with every dog.
Yeah, that's all I need. That's all I need. I'm very much, a lot of groomers I feel like are about, you always want the haircut to go out looking good. It's your work. You want people to see this beautiful dog, ask the owners where they got their dog groomed, so they recommend you and they come to you. Of course you want that, especially as a business owner. You want and need as much business as you can handle. Absolutely. But there's a line, and you can't cross the line. If I have a dog that gives me a hard line, and this is something that I'm not okay with, this is something I'm not ready for, I'm not crossing it. And I don't care if the owners get mad at me or not. I will break it down to them and tell them, I am not going to overly stress your dog out for a nice haircut. We will get there eventually. If you keep them on a schedule, do the homework that I'm giving you, we can get there eventually. It's just not going to happen right now.
Okay. So on that, just as like, as an example, say I'm like an owner that's dead set on getting my dog's haircut. I came in, we agreed on a price, $100, whatever it is. And you told me, hey, like, it's going to take one or two more visits before we have comfort out of Fluffy to where we can get him fully groomed. I mean, then I'm sitting there looking at you like, hey, I came here to get my dog a haircut and you won't get my dog a haircut? How do you reply to a client that might be like that?
Well, if it's something like that, so let's say it was $100 and you're supposed to get a haircut. If I can't do the haircut, I'm not charging you $100. I'm charging you a bath price. And I make it clear to everybody that comes in. This is why I ask all the questions that I asked in the beginning, so I can get a feel for things. Because if I feel like there's a possibility of any kind of group issue with the groom, I'm going to tell you ahead of time. And I also, if I'm in the middle of grooming and a problem arises that we were not expecting, but I stop everything and I call the owner. This is the problem I'm having. This is the situation we're looking at. This is not going to happen today. I don't like the owners just showing up to surprise. I couldn't do what we had talked about. That's a good way to take the owner off. You need to call them in advance, so when they show up, they're not in shock.
And the videos definitely help. I mean, that, like, again, like, proof is in the pudding with that. You show me a video and, Fluffy is scared, petrified of the fans and everything like that. I mean, and then the dryers, like, okay, like, I see it. You're right. Like, I'm not mad at you that my dog's wet. Totally makes sense. Okay, we keep referring to this homework. I know it's not like clear cut, like, hey, here's a workbook, like, take it home, fill it out, come back when you're done. But let's start through some examples of like what some of this like pet owner homework could look like, because I think this could be a really, really good idea.
So it depends on the issue, depends on the dog. The biggest thing that I always recommend, especially to puppies, everybody wants their first time getting groomed, always want a haircut. Oh, they have so much hair. Oh, they have hair in their eyes. Oh, they keep getting poop stuck to their butt and their butt needs to be cleaned up. I understand it. But if your puppy's going to act like a puppy and try and do somersaults on my table, they're going to get hurt. I'm not doing it. Here's your homework. Go to the dollar store, get a kid's electric toothbrush that takes a AAA battery. It vibrates like the clippers vibrate. Take it home, run it nose to tail all over your dog, and get him used to something touching on him that vibrates. It'll help desensitize him to the clippers.
Where do you get that?
You can get, I kind of just was home one day actually brushing my daughter's teeth with her toothbrush, and it just kind of dawned on me that it does the same thing. But you can get them anywhere. You can go to the dollar store and get one. It's not like they're expensive.
Yeah, I guess No, I guess you're right. I mean, electric toothbrushes now are so cheap where it's like, hey, go get that and just play with your dog with an electric toothbrush. Sounds weird,
Yeah.
but it's going to get them 10 times more comfortable.
Yep. I tell them the same thing with a dryer. If you have a puppy or you have a dog that's scared of a dryer, go buy a dryer to dry your own hair. Just turn the heat setting off so you don't overheat them and work on drying them at home. I tell them to play with their feet a lot. I tell them when you are brushing them, especially their face, make sure you hold on to their chin hair. When you are scissoring a dog's face, you typically are holding on to the chin hair in order to scissor everything. And especially puppies, as soon as you hold that chin hair, they want to try and do somersaults and bite your fingers because they're not used to it. But you're brushing their face.
What about? Oh, there we go. Sorry, there was a little bit of a lag there. I didn't mean to cut you off. What about scared of people?
What about what?
What about when a dog's scared of people, like scared of your team, scared of you, etc.? What could some homework be there to help?
So, little have a dog that's scared of people. I just tell them you need to make sure you're social with the dog. Now, I'm not saying dog part. I don't always agree with those. I'm saying take your dog on a walk. Take your dog in the car on a car ride down a couple different streets. If you got kids and it's, everybody's out at the ice cream truck, take the dog with you. Especially if it's one you can just pick up and carry, take it with you. Get used to all the noise in the background. I am open. So I'm open actually Monday through Saturday. I work a lot. My team is here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Monday and Tuesdays I'm here by myself. But that's the time that I get to take on those dogs to do better in a quiet environment. Who don't like a lot of people around them. My shop's very quiet. I do appointment building. I'm one-on-one. So if I got one dog, there's no other dog here. It's just us.
So is there a way to do this for folks that have like high volume salons or maybe only work the 5 days and so they've got, maybe a couple more dogs per day squeezed in?
Well, I feel like if you're in a busy salon setting and you have a dog that has issues like this and needs a quiet space, either you need to create a quiet space. Some groomers have actual grooming rooms for each groomer, so it's a little easier to swing something like that. Or you need to find the busiest time. I have dogs that I will purposely book the one dog and I will push all the other appointments off, or I will book all the quiet dogs at once.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I actually like the idea of booking the quiet dogs at once, even though it could be a lot to handle. Maybe you just go at it with like, hey, Thursdays are like anxious dog days. We have less of them. All hands on staff, no music, whatever. Everyone's got their shtick. We know how to do this.
Yep.
What's this might be like a weird question, but again, just for our friends that maybe don't handle anxious or aggressive dogs as much, what's the best way to refer someone to someone like yourself, right? Because again, there's this weird like balance between like, I don't want to offend you, pet owner, that your dog is too much for me and my staff and my environment, etc. And I want your dog to get the care and help that they need, but I don't know how to tell you this because I really don't want to offend you.
Honestly, no matter how hard you try and sweet talk someone, you're still going to have the clients that are going to get upset. You're still going to have the clients who are, oh no, my dog would never bite. My dog never bites. If my dog tried to bite you, you did something wrong. You're always going to run into this. But I think approaching it with your dog is very afraid of the other dogs here. They don't like barking. They don't like loud noises. I have a busy salon. My salon is too loud for them. I think you need to find a quieter one. I've had dogs who don't do well on car rides. I had a dog who was abandoned. She actually was, just, without giving too many details, her old owners threw her out of her car, and now she's petrified to go in a car. They try to bring her to me, something like that. You need a mobile groomer. And I tell them, your dog's history, your dog's issues. If every time you put her in the car and she's an anxious mess by the time she gets here, it's too much on her for me to groomer. You need a mobile groomer.
That's good. No, I like that. There's ways to, add a little constructiveness to it.
Yep.
Okay. The other thought I had down in front of me here, the other note was for someone that wanted to get into this, right? Whether it's an owner or whether it's a groomer who has the same affinity for building these relationships that you do. I mean, it's hard enough to kind of just like figure out grooming on your own because it is a high skilled, art form. How do I learn how to deal with anxious dogs? Like, what would you recommend now seeing the other side?
You need to be able to have an enormous amount of patience. You cannot be the type of groomer who I've seen groomers that, a dog, you're trying to cut its nails and it's pulling its paw away and they just quit and give up because they're frustrated. If you're that type of groomer, this isn't for you. You have to have an enormous amount of patience. And you need to know that if a dog is constantly giving you issues and you're getting overwhelmed, you're causing the dog to get overwhelmed, you're making the situation worse. You need to know not only when to step away and take 5 minutes and give the dog 5 minutes to try and come back to it. You need to know when, okay, the dog's drawing a hard line right now. I just got to stop. You have to learn all these boundaries. So this isn't something that I feel like someone as a new groomer can just jump into doing. You need to have the experience. You need to learn the patience. I have 2 kids, and I actually have a disabled daughter. So my daughter is 5, but she's more mentally around 2. So for the past 3 years, I've had a 2-year-old. So I have to have an enormous amount of patience for my life. So you have to keep yourself mentally and physically calm. That I feel like is going to be your biggest deal breaker in doing something like this.
And I mean, not again, I don't want to overshadow this part, but I do think it's worth mentioning again is like not only do you have to be patient and like just over the top calm, but you have to be willing to have these kind of conversations with clients about education and protocols and stuff like that because everything we've talked about today has all been around that communication with that client about their dog. The
Absolutely.
before appointment, the homework, the communication while you're in the appointment, like all of that stuff. So if like, hey, if you're not one to be buddy with the clients, it's like, probably not the area to like explore.
Absolutely. You have to be educated enough that you can educate the owners correctly in order to, help these kind of dogs. And this isn't for everyone. A lot of salons, actually, I don't think there's one salon around me that actually works with dogs like this. I'm pretty positive it is only me. You really got to have the patience, and a lot of people I feel like are like, I don't like people, so I'm gonna go work with dogs. It doesn't work that way. You better be okay dealing with dogs, and you got to have relationships with your clients, the human clients.
That's great. Okay. I have 3 questions for you as we wrap up. I try and ask them to most guests that give me, the grace to come on the show. And I really do appreciate you sitting down and taking the time with me. I know you probably had a busy afternoon. You have been running the shop for how long now?
5 years.
5 years. That's incredible. Well, congrats on that, Shannon. Hopefully only success to come. Okay. So you've been running the shop for 5 years now. You've learned a thing or two, I would hope. I want you to share 2 things for me. I want you to share what's maybe some advice you can give to aspiring business owners / current business owners on what it takes to build maybe an enduring shop for 5 years. That's my question 1 for you. And I'm going to say the other one so I don't forget, and then we can tackle them one by one. The second one is, what tools have you used along the way that have helped you run your salon better? Let's go back to number 1, advice for new business owners or wannabe business owners.
Don't quit. Don't quit. If this is something you really, truly want to do, I have a medical degree and I chose this over that because I have a passion for it. If you don't have a passion for it, you don't want to do it. You have to really have a passion for it. If you do, it is going to be really hard in the beginning. I took no loans out to start my business. Every time I made a penny, I dipped it back in. If this is something you really want to do, don't quit. Just keep pushing at it. You'll get there eventually. I'm 5 years in and only recently got to the point that I could actually have a full staff. It takes time. And there has been plenty of times that I've wanted to throw in the towel, but I'm glad I didn't. I gotta a business that helps me to take care of my kids. I also have a disabled husband who can't work anymore, so I'm able to be there for all of them and provide for all of them. And if I would have quit, I don't know where we'd be right now.
Oh my gosh. Fired me up. Holy cow, Shannon. No more coffee for me needed. Okay, thank you for sharing that. That is very motivating, and hopefully we can take those words to heart. Question two, tools that you've learned, found, enjoyed along the way that make your life easier as a business owner.
I would say two things, actually. One is a lot of folks are always looking for a calendar to keep track of their appointments. And a lot of these softwares cost like $150, $200 a month. No. I use something called Barkley HQ. And a lot of people I feel like don't know about it because it's actually Canadian. And I actually stumbled upon it when they first came up with the software. And it's great. And it's affordable. And it's linked to my website, so people can book appointments on my website. It pops right up on my calendar, and it shoots me an email, and it's great. I keep track of vaccination records. It sends out email reminders. I have all the history. I can put in grooming notes. It's great. The other thing that I would say was Your Teddy software. And Your Teddy software, I suck at technology. So when I originally tried to come up with my voicemail, I had to have a receptionist do it because I kept messing it up. It's nice because I get phone calls. My shop phone actually used to be my cell phone. So I was getting phone calls. Like, I get phone calls at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning for clients trying to get in. And it's nice because I get a text message when someone calls and I can just pull it up and read the entire conversation. And the way that Your Teddy software works, when it asks, like, what services are you looking for? Do you have a dog or a cat? What breed? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, it actually breaks down all the questions so I can be prepared to call them. And I already know what you're calling about. I know the breed. I know what services you're looking for. I know the last time your dog was groomed versus just getting a voicemail. Oh, hi, my name is Sharon. Here's my number. I want to get my dog groomed. And it's like, I need more information than that to be able to help you. So I like how it breaks everything down. So I feel like I'm more prepared to call folks back.
I love that. Oh my gosh. All right. Seems like you got a good stack of tools. I really appreciate the love and the kind words for Teddy. Honestly, we wouldn't even be where we're at today without people like yourself that have helped us craft it, from the ground up. Okay. This is the send off here, Shannon. Tell us where we can find you and learn more. Feel free to share a Facebook page or a website.
So I do have a website. It's just it's www.shannonsprettypawsgrooming.com, and I have everything on there. I have all the services that I offer. You can always book online appointments through there. You can also, I have everything. I have Facebook, I have TikTok, I have Instagram. I'm not the best at keeping up on my social media pages, but I do answer everybody back very quickly. I even have students that I was teaching through the college, and college is now for several months, and they still hit me up all the time for questions. I'm very much feel like the grooming world needs to be more supportive of each other. There's more than enough dogs and cats to go around. So I feel like if anyone is ever struggling, even other groomers, if I can give you advice, I have no issues doing that. There's more than enough to go around, and we need more groomers who actually give a crap. So I'm willing to help anyone as long as they are actually trying.
That's awesome. And I would recommend, if you do have any questions about exploring anxiety dogs, aggressive dogs, or even just client communication, Shannon is my first referral for anyone listening on that. If you guys can't get a hold of her through her website, reach out to me. I'm happy to connect you guys. She's the best in the game at this sort of stuff. Shannon, thank you so much. I really cannot express enough how grateful I am that you took some time to spend with me this afternoon. I really appreciate it, and we hope to have you come on the pod soon.
Thank you. I'm always here, anytime.
All right, and that's the pod.